Through storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it loud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key. Make the big switch. Power to the people. Time to teach the rich.
Welcome, everyone, to the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. I am Zester, and thank you guys so much for joining me this Friday. And it's going to be a particularly, it's going to be a productive Friday. It's going to be a productive Friday. And so whether people enjoy that or not, we'll find out at the end. But otherwise, we're going to go through and we're going to essentially start sending cryptocurrency around. And we're going to walk through the vast majority of the different exchanges that everyone in the community has had questions about. And so in terms of hellos today, very sorry. We're going to do hellos when I get questions. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and start jumping directly into it. And I'm going to be looking for the questions of what crypto do you currently have sitting on a exchange, any exchange out there. And we're going to go through and we're going to get that crypto off that exchange and into something that you actually own. Because please do remember, if your money is on a centralized exchange, it is not your money. It is the same idea as your money being in a bank. Is it your money? Yes. Is it in the real world your money? No. It is the bank's money. And it will always be the bank's money. And it has never been your money the second that you gave it to them. And so, in that regard, we're going to go through this one. Looking forward to the questions. I'm ready with Uphold, Coinbase, and Lobster currently pulled up, although they keep constantly logging me out because of the little timelines and stuff of that nature. And just so you know, but I have got all three pulled up. We are ready for the questions. First things first, thank you, Kukla and Trish, so much for being here. And yes, please do remember that the content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended to provide financial advice. In this case, please consult with not only a financial professional, but a technology professional. If there's any degree of licensing for that, which I don't believe there is, before making any major decisions, because today we're going to be going through moving XRP, XLM, and other cryptocurrencies from a centralized exchange to a hardware wallet. Now, for today, and we're going to learn a lot of other things along the way, and there's going to be a lot of little lessons that we kind of dig into. But for today, we will be using a Ledger Nano S Plus. This entire process is literally identical, except for the interface, depending on whether you're on a phone or a computer. But otherwise, the important steps are all absolutely identical. If I need to go out and purchase a ledger that I do not need personally in order to be able to walk people through it, I will do that. But otherwise, these steps are the exact same on every single ledger. And so Ledger is going to be our destination for this evening in terms of the hardware wallet side. It could be anywhere, though. A cryptocurrency wallet address is literally universal. We could be sending this to a Ledger. We could be sending it to a MetaMask. We could send it to a Trust wallet. We can send it anywhere. It really does not matter. It does not change the process at all. And so let's go ahead and start jumping in right off the bat. Uphold wallet. All right. Let's go ahead and present over here. And let's bring up all of this. All right. And so for today, this was Trish's recommendation, I have switched everything over to light mode, which I will go ahead and tell you is literally an affront to my eyes, but everything is on light mode. And for those that are curious about what I mean, I tend to always run everything this way because it does not cause my eyes damage throughout the day as I work. But we're going to be running everything in light mode because that should help a little bit with folks being able to see better. And so let's go ahead and jump over to Uphold first. We're going to go for our login. I'm assuming you've already gone through and made an account, but I went ahead and saved everything here to make it a little bit easier in terms of doing this. Now, we'll go ahead and get logged in. We're into an Uphold account. Now, you can see already that I have removed all of my money from Uphold because you do not keep money on centralized exchanges. As much as that is pretty much a mainstay with a lot of people when you're new to crypto, you never do that. You do not keep money on centralized exchanges. It's not your money. And so I don't keep anything here. I don't keep anything here at all, and I never will. And so for today, what we're going to go through and look at whatever people may be having an issue with on Uphold, whatever that may be. And so I have not gone through and pre-planned in terms of that. I am just here. And the reason I am is because these programs update on a regular basis. I promise you that it's exactly the same. I promise you that I can literally jump onto the website and we can figure this out. I keep my money there, Kukla, on a Ledger hardware wallet, which I actually have pulled up over here in terms of Ledger Live. And so we're going to be transferring we're going to get something over to Uphold, or I'm going to show people how to transfer off of Uphold, which we don't necessarily need to actually send a transaction to do. But we're going to go through absolutely anything and everything that is currently the problem. Where are the issues occurring? And so for anyone out there, please, if you're on Uphold, you have money stuck in Uphold, where is the problem? Because this is honestly one of those streams where I am just asking for people to give me examples. What problem are you currently facing? Because your crypto should be on a hardware wallet or should be on at least a software wallet that you own at the minimum. That's kind of like a ticket into the door. And so today we're going to hammer that one out. Anybody, where is the problem occurring on Lobster? CEH, I know how to buy. That is it. Okay. So solely buy. Nothing more than that. In which case, I may need to actually send something over to this account. And so let's actually go ahead and let's just go through that process then. And so, all right, we've got our portfolio right here. We've got our watch list. We've got transact, limit, and we're figuring this out at exactly the same time. I did this on purpose. I did not go ahead and figure out how to use it because I wanted to experience what y'all are experiencing on these sites, because I've gone through them already a year or so ago. And so, yeah, well, let's see. Where's the issue occurring, essentially? That's a bunch of little fun stuff. We don't need any of that. All right. We would like to receive crypto because I would like to send cryptocurrency to Uphold. And so right now, what we're trying to do is receive. And yeah, we don't really have any good option. It says buy, but we don't want to buy. It's not what we're interested in. And first things first here, right off the bat, do not use these services. We're doing this as a matter of rescuing crypto. I do not recommend Uphold. I do not recommend Lobster, and I never will because they are really shitty websites. But let's go through. All right. Yeah, I can see why people are having issues because this entire user interface is, well, crap. Yeah, can absolutely see why folks are having such an issue. And so even with us sitting in portfolio, our only option is to actually just buy something as opposed to us having any ability to actually send anything. And the buy button doesn't even work. Let's see if I had any type of protection up that was causing that. Nope, it just flat out does not work. Let me hide current comment so that you can see that. Just flat out doesn't work. Click it, click it, click it. It does absolutely nothing. All right, let's go over to our XRP account. Now on our XRP account, the buy button also literally does nothing. Okay. Wallet address. Now, wallet address is what's honestly kind of important here. And that's what we were genuinely looking for. Because if we would like to receive crypto into our Uphold account, we're going to need to go through and we're going to need to find our XRP wallet address for Uphold. And so, well, we found it. This is what we're actually looking for. And so let's go for Bitcoin. I would like to actually send. Good Lord, this is such a joke. Before moving on, please read these instructions. Only deposit BTC from the Bitcoin network. Deposits from other networks will be lost. I confirm that I have read the instructions. Okay. Now here's my Bitcoin address for Uphold. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to come over back to my Ledger wallet. And so now I'm going to navigate over on my Ledger wallet in order to actually send some Bitcoin to this account, because apparently you're not allowed to actually show people how to send any crypto until you have some crypto sitting on it. And so let's go over to RBTC. We're going to send some Bitcoin. And now we're going to send this particularly small amount. You do have to put a 0 before the dot because for some reason that matters. Oh, there I go, putting it in the wrong actual category. That's where you copy paste. Now we're going to go for, let's just send a very, very small amount. So about $84. And so we're going to go ahead and click continue. And remember, whenever you're doing this, we have found our wallet address here, actually off of Uphold. And so in this case, we're sending to Uphold. You can double check here with the last 4, H8C9. You can then come back over to your Uphold and say, well, in this case, it's not particularly helpful because they've done a particularly stupid thing. As I've said before, do not use Uphold or Lobster. We are figuring out how to get your money back off of shit exchanges. And so I'll go ahead and make that clear once again as we're going through. A bunch of these things are just not what you would do if you're running a professional enterprise. We're not able to check our last 4 without copying and pasting it. Now we can copy and paste it right up here just so we can see H8C9, H8C9. We are good. we are going to the right place. And so we would then go back here. In this case, we're sending crypto from our Ledger hardware wallet to Uphold. That way we can send it from Uphold back to our Ledger wallet. We're going to update firmware. And so currently a firmware update is ongoing. Carol D, I bought XRP on Coinbase and I need to transfer to wallet, so I thought this tutorial would be perfect. Carol, absolutely. We're going to go from Coinbase over to a hardware wallet. What a lot of this really is, though, is, in all honesty, Coinbase is very, very easy. Our Coinbase tutorial, we already have videos on. It's very simple. What's particularly difficult is Lobster and Uphold. And so we're going to go through those first because they're going to be a large part of the kind of cussing and being unhappy with everything. And then we're going to go into Coinbase at the end because Coinbase is very, very easy to use. But right now, I think we've got our firmware update finished. And so I think we can actually go back. Let's go ahead and install now and relaunch that just in case there's anything that we're currently missing. Yeah, it literally wants to reset the computer. We're not going to do that. And I did, guys. I left this intentionally undone so that I could go through as many of the different problems as possible throughout the time. Please, CEH, use Coinbase. Please, people, please. I am begging you, as part of the community, I'm begging you to stop using Lobster and Uphold. I'm begging you. I am begging you on absolute knees to stop using both of those centralized exchanges. They are not just bad. They're absolutely awful. And that's the reason, though, that's the reason that this makes sense. I understand why everybody is having so many problems. I totally get it. It's because of the services you're using. And so I'm not in any way condemning you for using it. I know that someone out there taught you to use it or convinced you to use it. And so it became the option. And so let's go back. We're going to go back to our accounts over here. Now that we've updated, hopefully we've updated enough times. We'll have to see if there's another one. But let's go back to our RBTC. We're going to go back to our wallet address. We're going to copy it. And we're going to come back here because we're still trying to send a little bit of Bitcoin from our Ledger Live to our, in this case, our Uphold account. Yeah, honestly, I don't want any more than $8 sitting over there. We're going to go ahead and click continue, continue, and then you're going to have a signature that is required on your Ledger hardware device. And so whenever you send crypto from your Ledger, you're going to have to plug your Ledger in or connect it. Double check transaction. I'm looking through on my Ledger right now, which is a very difficult thing to really be able to show. And I'm clicking sign transaction. And so I just signed that transaction. We now have Bitcoin on its way from our Ledger hardware wallet to our actual Uphold account. And so very, very soon, we will see an update occur on this side where we will have 0.0001 Bitcoin sitting over here. While we wait for a second, Yeah, there you go. Gary 7. Lobster is not very helpful. In fact, I think that they are shellfish. CEH, private natural body. Can I get everything off of Uphold, then just use Coinbase? You absolutely can, and we're going to show you that. In just a little bit, we're going to be waiting for some Bitcoin to show up over here, which it'll take a little bit of refreshing. Bitcoin is fairly slow, but look at that. $8.23 of Bitcoin have arrived. For all of those out there that always say Bitcoin is slow, Bitcoin is not slow, and it never has been slow. That's not actually how it works. Bitcoin is here. It took, I guess, 30 seconds. And so now we actually have a little bit going on. And of course, because it's Uphold, it got immediately converted over to XRP, which, okay, that's fine. Now, though, we actually have XRP. And so let's go through and figure out how to remove our XRP from this exchange. Because it's here now. We see that I deposited XRP. Status is still processing. And so it is planning on this taking a little bit of time. It says that while it knows that it's on its way, it's not actually here yet. In that case, let's actually jump over and do a little bit of kind of jumping around. Light mode on. I'm not certain if Uphold has a light mode there, Kukla. I'm not positive. Typically it's very easy to achieve, and I don't really want to click on, there we go. There we go. Is that a little bit better there, Kukla? Now it should be blindingly bright for everyone out there. And so we're still continuing to wait for our XRP to actually process and show up. I'm going to jump over and start looking at Coinbase for those folks that are having issues removing their crypto from Coinbase while we wait. Because, well, crypto is just a heck of a lot easier to use on Coinbase because we are now into our Coinbase account. If you would like to send your crypto to a Ledger hardware wallet, you would do nothing more than go to My Assets. And now you can see I have Hedera Hashgraph here. I have Ethereum, Solana, Cosmos. All I do is click these little 3 buttons over here, and I click Send. And then I literally just come over to my Coinbase account, to my Ledger account, and I say, look, here's my Hedera Hashgraph, which I do have a video on the channel that shows you how to create a Hedera Hashgraph account. I come over, I click on it, I click Receive. And now I'm going to have to log in a different wallet real quick in order to be able to probably see my wallet address. But let's check real quick. Yep, now we do. And so I'm going to log in to another Ledger hardware wallet. Sorry for me going silent at times. I am literally doing everything in real time so that it is hopefully as helpful in terms of going through all of the different hiccups that you can experience as possible. I'm now logged in. I'm going to retry. And here is my address for Hedera Hashgraph. And now, unfortunately, I don't think I can actually increase the size of that one, but you'll see that my Hedera Hashgraph is 0.0.5 5150358. I'm going to copy that. Nothing more than just click the copy button. It'll even tell you address copied right there. I'm going to come back over and I'm going to paste that. And now look, in this case, I've sent Hedera Hashgraph to the same account before. And so it remembers me. In another situation, it would just say 0.0.515. It wouldn't include the sent to 1 year ago. But I'm going to click on it. And now HBAR is a crypto that requires a memo if you are sending to a centralized exchange. And so in this case, we're sending to a hardware wallet. We do not need a memo. What a memo is, for those that are concerned whenever they see a memo request pop up, that is only necessary when you're sending crypto to a centralized exchange. And it's only necessary with XRP, XLM, Hedera, and XTC. Every other crypto does not require a memo or a receiving address, any more explanation besides just the typical wallet address. And so in this case, we do not actually need one. We do not need one at all. And so let's actually go back, because I went and clicked that at the wrong time. You'll see that we went through, we typed it all in, I clicked. We do not need a memo because we're sending to a private wallet. So we're going to skip that. Now we're going to send, let's say, $10 of HBAR. We're going to preview it. We're going to click send now. Now, I am going to be asked to do some authentication essentially on this. And this is something that it depends on your situation, whether it's important or not. It really doesn't matter. It really just depends on the situation you're in, whether you have this. If you plan on keeping your crypto on a centralized exchange for an extended period of time, I would set up two-party authentication. Typically, I do not worry about it, but let's go on over. For Coinbase, I do, just because I use it so often. And so I'm using an authenticating app, Google Authenticator in this case, in order to verify that it's me. And so I just sent 53.79 HBAR, or essentially $10 US, to my Ledger hardware wallet. And now we'll be able to actually sit over here and we'll be able to wait for it. It probably will not take very long. Now, things coming from centralized exchanges do take longer than if I was sending the transaction to you. But look, it is already here. It is literally already occurred. And so Coinbase released the funds. I got my $10 US of HBAR already available and sitting here in my wallet. And it is the exact same process with every crypto you own. It is so easy. Now, I do remember guys, we staked a lot of our crypto over here. And so my Ethereum, my Solana, my Cosmos, my Polkadot, it's all currently staked. I think it's earned like $4 or $5 over the past year, which is really not all that impressive. But if your cryptocurrency is staked on Coinbase, you will not be able to immediately sell it. You have to actually go in and you have to unstake it, essentially. And so that's an extra step, depends on the situation. For 99% of folks watching the video, though, that should not be a worry. All we're doing is trying to send crypto. And so you just watched Hedera get sent. Let's see if we're allowed to send anything else. Yep, and because we don't have any, because it's all staked, we can't send Ethereum at the moment. We could send more Hedera. And so we could also go in and we could literally send Hedera hash graph to another exchange. And so let's see if our uphold money has actually come through or not. We may need to use that. Nope, still processing. Yes, Bitcoin is the slowest. Nancy H, when you unstake, is it immediately? It is not. It is not. And so, depending upon which crypto you are unstaking, you would end up with different timelines. And so, let's try to go through and actually get this unstaked. Well, that is not particularly helpful, in all honesty, the way that it's set up right now. There we go. Staking average rate. You can see down here where my rates are at. You can see when I've gotten rewards based off of my staked crypto, which has been particularly, wow, has been particularly low. Definitely something to keep in mind is that over the past year, when we look at my staking rewards, I am not anywhere close to the numbers that they claimed I would be. They claimed I'd be at a 6.9% APR. I am far below that on my $100, somewhere around 50% below that, just because I've only earned somewhere around 50 cents, or around 50%, that is. And so Polkadot, I believe, takes about 28 days to actually unstake. Cosmos takes around 14 days. Ethereum around a week. Solana around 3 days. Keep that in mind. It's the same idea as a savings account, ultimately. When you're staking your crypto, what you're really doing is you're making that distinction between your checking account and your savings account. And so just remember that whenever you're staking crypto, that's essentially what you're doing. You're saying, hey, it's a savings account. Put it over there. I don't need immediate access to it. Whereas with your checking account, that would be your traditional wallet. Those funds are uninhibited by any degree of you having promised them to someone else. Carol D, Zester, I intend to keep my crypto long term. Do you have a favorite wallet you would recommend? It's the Ledger. Ledger Nano S Plus. There's a link in the description that will save you $10. And so I would highly, highly recommend using that. Joe Evans, I received staking rewards. Is that considered a taxable event? Joe, that is actually one of the guaranteed taxable events. If you are staking crypto and you are receiving returns off of it, that is most likely going to be a taxable event forever. Not just in the gray area we currently live in. Unfortunately, Joe, staking rewards are most likely going to always be a taxable event. Hopefully, or maybe, with the changes that Trump is planning on, we may end up not having to pay taxes on our staking rewards. But if you're to look at the tax code, essentially for the past 60 years, you would say that staking returns are very much going to enter into a taxable event. When you stake, though, you did not create a taxable event. But when you receive returns, and so you stake 100 Solana and you receive 1 Solana, expect to pay taxes on that 1 Solana. Patty, that would actually be in the description of the video. You'll see a hardware wallet or a ledger link down there. I might be able to pull that one up, but that is an important thing for folks checking it out. Remember, and actually, there we go. And so the link for that is inside of my links. On the link tree, you'll have a little button after you click that where you'll see Ledger hardware wallets down here at the bottom. And so you will click on Ledger hardware wallets, and then you will actually get Bitcoin back for making your purchase. It's one of those win-win-win-win type situations. Just because you get free Bitcoin back, they give me a little Bitcoin for you having bought through it. If you don't use the link, you just pay more money. It's one of those big win referral programs. So I'm very, very happy with how Ledger has that set up. Very, very happy. All right, though. Let's get back here. Let's see if we've succeeded. Nope, it looks like we are still processing. Still processing here. All right. With that, let's go ahead and get into Lobster. And so we've gone through, we've shown a transfer out of Coinbase to a hardware wallet. That process is the same for every crypto. The only difference is some cryptos are harder than other cryptos to use. XRP is harder than Bitcoin. Hedera is harder to use than Bitcoin. XLM, harder to use than Bitcoin. And so those are just things that have to be remembered as we're going through the process. LG Lady, when I bought Ledger Nano S Plus last week using Zester, it did not give me a $10, but it did receive $5 of Bitcoin. Maybe they have changed that, LG Lady. Maybe I know that they've switched it to refer a friend at $20. Maybe they've changed it based off of which model of Ledger you purchase. But where you would go, LG Lady, would be the refer a friend section, and you would be able to actually claim that reward. And so on your side, it will look different, but ultimately you're capable of redeeming your gift code here in order to claim your Ethereum. I might have to make a separate video for that one, LG Lady, just to make certain folks do get their free Bitcoin back. Yeah. Gary, the price is different depending on which model of Ledger Nano. That makes complete sense. Jeff, I don't think Coinbase is really much better if you have a problem. Just try and get some helpful customer service. What else could you say you have used, Mr. C? Jeff, there is no helpful customer service. Like, there is not one. It doesn't exist. Tech companies do not do customer service. Look at Facebook. Look at every social media company out there. Look at Apple. Try to call an Apple customer service number. Coinbase is in the same category where you're always going to get put through a robot. And some robot's going to try to work your way through it. You're going to have to go back and forth with them over and over again. And it's going to be a pain in the butt. I would agree, though, Jeff. There just aren't any. Jeff, there aren't. They do not exist. Ultimately, the barriers to purchasing, owning, and safely owning cryptocurrency are high right now. They're not that high, in all honesty, but they are higher. Yeah, Gary, I guess that's the best way of putting it, in all honesty. Best customer service for Coinbase is a YouTube search. And in all honesty, it really is. It really is the best customer service option. It really is. There really isn't another option. But what I would say to here, and what everybody needs to remember, and why I look at this and say, well, this is very, very odd, is remember, I sent Bitcoin to Uphold. I sent Bitcoin. I received XRP. That is not an intuitive, logical, or helpful exchange. That is entirely counterintuitive. I sent Bitcoin, and you can go back, rewind the show. I sent Bitcoin, and I spent $8.88 of Bitcoin. I received $8.19 of XRP. That is not an intuitive nor a helpful exchange. That's a crap exchange. They have screwed me out of my money, essentially. And so none of the uphold is okay are going to work here. It's not okay. It's a terrible exchange because, Savvy, that's what they're doing. It's the same thing with Lobster. Lobster, if I send Lobster cryptocurrency, they'll convert it to the Stellar network. These are essentially nothing more than podium pieces for two different ledgers. They're forcing you essentially to buy what they want you to buy. And so I sent, as you can clearly see, I sent Bitcoin. That is the send. I sent $8.88 of Bitcoin. I received $8.19 of XRP. Do not use these exchanges. Do not use them. That's why we're here today. Essentially, it's because people have been using these exchanges. Sluggo, that would be directly through. You can see the link actually in the bottom of my description on the video today. There's me. You click the link tree, and then you click Ledger Hardware Wallets. That way you know you're not going to the wrong place, and you will be certain that you're getting the right thing. But yeah, that to me is just absolutely beyond silly, but that's how they work. That's how this exchange works. Everything goes to XRP the second that you deposit it, essentially, and it creates a lot of confusion for the average person because they just don't know what happened. But all right, our XRP has arrived. And so now that our XRP has arrived, we are going to send our XRP somewhere. And we're going to have to go back through and figure out how to do this. XRP. Let's click sell and just see what happens. Oh, that literally does nothing. All right. Let's go to... No, I don't want to send a copy. Select bank currency. No, that's not what I want to do. I just want to send my crypto off of the exchange. XRP account. All right, here we go. Over here, XRP account. We click on it. We've got our XRP account here. Now we can click on select destination. And what I'm going to go do now is I'm actually going to get my XRP wallet address. I'm going to click receive on Ledger Live. Because remember, we're trying to get everything off of these exchanges. That's the number one goal, is to get our stuff off of these different exchanges. I'm going to use my Ledger Nano S right now. And now I've got my wallet address. After getting my wallet address, I'm going to come back and I'm going to just go ahead and paste it in. Nope, doesn't know what that is. All right. Let's go ahead. Here's our answer. We'd like to send it. And so let's go ahead and go back. We've clicked on it. We've got our XRP. It wants to know a destination. We click on destination. We're going to come down now to XRP Ledger Network. And we're going to go ahead and say all of it. I want all of it out. There we go. And now I'm at $7.99. So I've lost about $1 in this whole process. Preview withdrawal. And now Uphold is going to ask me for an XRP address. I'm going to paste the address. Remember, I got this address right here. It's my XRP, Zester's XRP wallet address. I'm going to receive crypto to that wallet address. I click copy and I pasted it right over here. Now, because I am sending to my own wallet address, I do not need a destination tag. If I were sending it to Coinbase or to a centralized exchange, I would need one, and that would be right here. There's a little question mark right under here that says need a tag / memo. If I click on that, it's going to say nothing to worry about. If there was something to worry about, it would ask me. But right now it's saying put whatever I want in there. It won't be a problem. And so I've got that set up. I click confirm. I don't need a destination tag. And so it gave me a warning here. But in this case, I do not need one. I understand the risk and confirm withdrawal. Now, two-factor authentication comes in. I need to type and I should be good to go. And now I should have my XRP leaving Uphold and heading to my actual account. And so transaction is processing. I probably should have remembered exactly how much was sitting here before I went and did that. Because we have 1,339.6908 XRP sitting here. I imagine this will not take more than a couple of seconds. Bam, there are my other XRP. They have arrived. And so we have now gone from Uphold, where we deposited Bitcoin. Our Bitcoin was automatically transacted into XRP because Uphold, and we removed our XRP. We are back to having absolutely nothing sitting on the Uphold exchange. There's nothing here. We got no money. We got literally zero. Looks like it's still having a bit of an issue there, not remembering that it's already happened, but we know that it's happened because the money's already showed up on the other end. And so all we did on the Ledger side is we had our Ledger Live up and we clicked receive with our Ledger hardware device plugged in. So this has to be plugged in. And then we continued and we got our wallet address. That wallet address is public. It is not important if anyone sees this. Y'all can copy and paste this address as much as you want. All you can do with it is send Zester money. That's it. There is no worry about having this sitting up there. Absolutely zero worry. And so you have this, and that's all you need. That's it. You've got your crypto currently sitting on Uphold. You would go through that exact same process. Now, I did it while I was sitting there figuring it out along the way. Now, you won't have to go through and do it that way. You can actually just go through and follow along with the steps with the current version of Uphold that is on the computer. And so, that one handled. We've handled Coinbase. We've removed from Coinbase. It's the same process no matter which crypto you're going with. The only difference is I just don't have any available crypto on any of those. But you can see I can also go through with Bounce or any of the other ones that I've got in learning rewards and transfer them over to my Ledger hardware device. You are sending from Coinbase. You are receiving in Ledger. And so whichever account that may be, you can make these pretty much as many of them as you want. And they're just based off of which blockchain. And so for Zester's Ethereum, we would click on Zester's Ethereum. We would click receive, continue. I would open an app on my device. And, oh, good Lord. And we have to update our firmware on that one. So we're just going to ignore that in terms of Ethereum to not do another update. But the updates are fairly normal. They are regularly occurring. I do not plug my devices in that often because I don't worry about where my crypto is going. But that is something to keep in mind. You do want to keep your firmware updated. Yeah. Mile High Trish. That's actually a great recommendation on something to check out. Over here on your Coinbase account, you do have, and this is inside of more, you have learning rewards. And over here you have, well, right now I have $74 of free money to earn by just utilizing these different, really just educational experiences. And so learn about real estate on chain. Please know that the deed to your house is going to be on a blockchain very, very, very soon. It's already happening. And as a matter of fact, you can probably blame this exact company for it, Propy. Mint your home address. You get $13 for minting your home address. You get $19 for getting your deed on chain. And you get $1 for sharing a home listed for crypto. If for some reason you wanted to sell your house and you wanted to be paid in crypto. Here we go with Demo. Demo, connect your car to the future. This is based around connecting the title to your car to the blockchain. These are happening. They're going to happen, and we really don't have a choice in them. It's the future. But you might as well earn a few free dollars while these opportunities are sitting here. We got Aleo Gaming. You can earn $7.50. All of these different little things require different steps. You know, you got to go through the whole process. But ultimately, it's some free money. There's good advice there. Mile High Trish. Demo wants you to buy a device. Yeah, no, definitely don't. Any of the ones, though, that are free, hey, free money. Mary Well, can we send from another blockchain through PancakeSwap? Might have to convert to a Ledger-supported coin. Mary, you've actually evolved to a slightly more advanced form of trading in terms of decentralized finance. And so PancakeSwap is a decentralized exchange. With PancakeSwap, I do not have an account. I have a wallet. And so I can actually go in on a decentralized exchange and I can connect my wallet. Well, if I can remember my password, I can connect my wallet. Yeah, that's what it is. I can actually connect my wallet and I can transact on a decentralized exchange. And so decentralized exchanges are an entirely different beast in regards to what a centralized exchange is. Once your money is actually sitting on your Ledger device, though, you can now access decentralized finance with it. And so that's a whole other explanation Mary, I'd love to go through and talk about where you're going with it and what's possible there. But just to keep it somewhat concentrated on centralized exchanges for this episode, I'm going to avoid digging too much into the depths of Pancake Swap and decentralized exchanges. That would be a whole other stream, probably 24 hours long, in all honesty, in order to be able to go through and explain that distinction between the two. But all right, we're back over here with Lobster, because Lobster is our last go in terms of the exchanges most folks are stuck on. And so we're going to try to get something going on over here. Do we have anything? I wish I had not cleared out. I do. We've got 1.52 stellar lumens worth a whole 42 cents sitting over here on Lobster. So how are we going to get off of Lobster? Let's figure that one out. All right. We got our assets. Well, Lobster makes it pretty easy. We've got a send button here. So let's go ahead and go over to send. We're going to send funds to a Stellar wallet. Now we're going to have to bring back up. We're going to have to find our Stellar wallet over here on Ledger. And we're going to want to receive. So now we're going to do the same thing that we've done previously. We're going to click the receive button. And Tina is going to harass me for pets. And we're going to, Tina, you have the hardware wallet right now. Thank you. I need this. Okay. Well, just 1 second, Tina, I promise. And now we're going to get, there's our wallet address. And so we're going to copy that. We've clicked address copied. Last four, NJ37. We're going to come back over. We're going to paste that in. We're going to go ahead and say, all right, we got 1.5 apparently that we're allowed to leave with. We're going to leave with 1.5. Oh, no, we can't. Yeah. We actually can't leave because on XLM, you have to have at least a certain amount actually sitting there. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to jump back over here. And so we got our address, but unfortunately, we don't have enough XLM. So we're actually going to do this in the opposite direction. I'm going to come back over to Lobster, and I'm going to say, I'd like to receive crypto. I'm going to click receive. I'm going to go over to the Stellar address, and it's just going to say copy address. So I'm going to click copy. So I've copied my address. I'm going to go back over, and I'm going to actually input this to the send on my Ledger Live side. No, actually, no memo required is what's written right here. No memo required. And so Lobster is telling me I don't need a memo in order to send crypto to it. So I'm just going to note that and say, don't add a tag. And I'm going to send 10 XLM. I'm going to click continue, and then I'm going to verify the transaction on my Ledger hardware device. Sign contract. Now my transaction is on its way over to Lobster. Tina, you are the absolute sweetest, but I might need my hands in a second. Just mine. All right, transaction has been sent. We now have everything to actually go through here. We can go through and do all kinds of different research to check whether our transaction is getting there. But ultimately, I don't think we have anything to worry about. It's probably going to show up pretty darn fast. So we go ahead and click refresh, and bam, looky there. We've got 11.52 lumens hanging out in our Lobster wallet. And so now that we're here, we're going to go ahead and literally do exactly what we just did, but in the reverse direction. And the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you one caveat. So we're going to click send, and we're going to go back to where we were, and we're going to click receive on our Stellar wallet. We're going to copy that wallet address. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to send 4 XLM. And so send 4 XLM is on its way back now. It should give me a little, yep, payment sent. And looky there, I bet I end up acquiring 4 more XLM out of nowhere awfully quick. Tina, please, please, please. We're adding in, we're making this hard mode for no reason, Miss Tina. All right, address shared securely. And let's click between some accounts real quick just to get it a refresh. And bam, look, we got our 4 XLM back. Our 4 XLM is back on our ledger hardware device. And so let's do one other thing here, though. Let's say you were going to move your money from Lobster to, let's say, Coinbase. And so let's go over here to Coinbase. And let's say we wanted to receive XLM. We got Stellar Lumens. We just typed it into the search bar, Stellar Lumens. Now, I would like to, down here, you'll see receive crypto. I'd like to receive XLM. And now notice here, it is specifying XLM memo is required. And so the game just changed. I'm going to send. So I'm going to copy my address. And all right, guys, we're going back and forth here. This is important. We copied our address. We go back over to Lobster. We go, yep, which one's Lobster? There you are, Lobster. And remember, we said we were going to send. We're going to paste that address. Remember, we acquired that over here. That is our address. Ends in 4W37. Man, 4W37. And so we can verify we put the right address in. We're going to go ahead and send $5.99. I'm going to go ahead and clear out the account. But remember, we have to use a memo now because we are going to a centralized exchange. And so I'm going to come back to here and I'm going to copy the XLM memo. I then go back to memo message and I click paste. Now, we are sending the remaining balance from our Lobster wallet in XLM to our actual Coinbase account. Next, send. Payment sent. 5.99999 XLM is now heading over to our Coinbase account. And so we do not have any XLM in our Coinbase account. So this one's going to be very easy to see when anything changes. It's going to be particularly easy. Now, remember, all transactions take more time going between centralized exchanges than they do if you and I were making a transaction. If you and I were making a transaction, your XLM would have been there literally the second you saw me press the button. If we were standing next to each other with our 2 phones, you would have received the XLM in a matter of nanoseconds after I clicked the send button. But centralized exchanges are a little bit different. They hold your funds. It takes a little bit more time. But ultimately, I have zero doubt that my XLM will arrive over here on Coinbase. So let's go through some questions while we're waiting, because it's going to update out of nowhere. My like Trish, that's a great comment. My like Trish is very, very tech savvy. She is great with technology, and she had messaged me about this one, and actually it was the first time I had heard about a lot of people using it, but it's a great idea. And so there is a cable you can buy from Ledger that will allow you to connect your Ledger Nano Plus to your phone as well. I use it all the time. And so that is essentially just a cord that's going to have a USB attached to one end. And so it's going to have the ability to plug into this. And it's going to have the ability to plug into your aux cord or your charge cord on a phone. Those cords allow you to use a Ledger Nano S Plus without a computer, which is extremely, extremely helpful. All right, though, check it out. We've got our XLM, $1.66 has showed up over here on Coinbase. And so at this point, we have gone from Coinbase to Uphold. We've gone from Uphold. We've gone from Ledger to Uphold. We've gone from Uphold to Ledger. We've gone from Coinbase, we've gone from Lobster to Coinbase. We've gone from Coinbase to Ledger, and we've gone from Lobster to Ledger. And so, are there any more? Guys, now is the time. Are there any more of the different ways back and forth that we could do right now that would be helpful? I would say I am planning on putting out a condensed version of this in a recorded video, but tonight is really the time where people can actually ask me live to go through their specific problem. And so if any of these answers and any of these little go-throughs have not solved the problem, please let me know right now, and we'll go through them. Thank you so much, Kukla. I totally get that. Thank you so much. And you, Trish, as well. Thank you guys so much for being here and helping out. I will, though, if there's any other ways, any other oddities, something that I would like to include right now that just came back to mind is the Ledger actual YouTube account. And so it doesn't pop up easily. You type in Ledger Startup, you get a buttload of different YouTubers talking all kinds of different stuff. And that's not what we want. What we actually want is the company. And look, it's extremely hard to find them. Extremely hard. Bam, here they are. And so the important thing here is that I would like to actually share one of their playlists, which sounds counterintuitive in terms of me making content that helps people walk them through how to set up these things. But I would say it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and just go through their little walkthroughs. And so here's the Nano S walkthrough, where it just walks you straight through all the different steps and what every little part and small process means. And so I'm going to go ahead and recommend also that if you're having an issue setting up your Ledger, utilize Ledger resources for setting up your Ledger hardware device. And so you've already got one, you've gotten this in the mail, you're sitting there with it. I would highly recommend just follow the Ledger tutorials. They're good. They're not going to teach you how to really use your Ledger, but they're going to teach you how to set it up. And that's what's really important to learn from them. Take it from the horse's mouth, I guess would be the saying. And so I would highly recommend for setup, that you use the Ledger YouTube account, and it's not easy to find. It's got 84.8 thousand subscribers as of right now at this exact moment. I can actually share that right there in the chat. That way you can check out the exact link. And so that should have just shared on Twitch and YouTube. I would highly recommend using Ledger services for the setup. The reason being is that you bought your device from Ledger. Ultimately, once it's set up, how you choose to use it is your responsibility. But the setup process is their responsibility. And so I highly recommend just using Ledger resources for the setup. Once you've gotten through setup, I would recommend not going back to their YouTube account because it's not helpful. But just a heads up for everyone out there that maybe has not set up their Ledger device, I would highly recommend using their videos and then coming back to this video in order to remove your crypto from the centralized exchanges that you're on. And so tonight, Lobster, Uphold, and Coinbase, we knocked out all three. We sent crypto to them. We removed crypto from them. And we even sent crypto between two centralized exchanges just so you could see what a memo is used for. A memo is only used on a centralized exchange because of the fact that your crypto is being held in a community wallet. And so you need a memo to distinguish that it's yours. Typically, you have your own wallet on a centralized exchange. But XRP, XLM, XDC, Hedera, they don't work that way. They work with a requirement of a memo. If you're sending Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin or pretty much any other crypto on the planet, you do not need a memo address. But we showed you that also during today's stream, so you should be set on that one as well. If it does say you need one, remember, we focused on that. It stated we needed a memo address, and so we used one. If it does not state it, you do not need one. And the easiest way to know if you need one is it a centralized exchange? You need a memo. Is it your wallet or you peer-to-peer, me to Trish, me to Scott? Then don't worry about the memo. We don't need one. But if you're sending it to a company that has a bunch of different wallets, you need a memo just essentially to organize it. Because if you've ever sent your XRP or XLM to, say, Coinbase, and you did not include a memo, Coinbase has your XLM. They just don't know it's yours. And so that's where the memo becomes important. The memo is proof. And it's entirely based off of technology factors that are all going on in the background. But just remember, if you're sending any of the ISO tokens, you need a memo address. Booger, that's a great question, Booger. That really is an awesome, awesome question. And so Booger asks, at crazycryptonautzester, should one buy two cold wallets and put the information on both in case the information gets wiped out on one? That is an awesome question, Booger. And for me, I've got I don't even know how many Ledger wallets, but you don't need to worry that much because, so right here we got Riley. Riley's my brother. And this wallet was named after him because, well, it's storing my contributions to Riley's future on it, and I manage his crypto for him. And so any crypto that he has or that he's interested in, I manage it with this device, and so it's named Riley. Now, say, we'll just use an example. Say I decide to go, I don't know, toss Riley's hardware device into the ocean. I don't know what happens. For some reason, I decide I want to do that. And we'll use this as the example for you, Booger, is I do that, and it's gone. There is no more of this. It's gone. Well, remember why Ledger sends you these little notebooks. Because inside of this notebook, I have written 24 words. And those 24 words are this wallet. And so, Booger, if you ever do lose the wallet that has your crypto on it, that sucks, but it's not bad because you can immediately have any other Ledger Nano or any other wallet. It doesn't even need to be a hardware wallet. You can immediately gain access to it by using your 24 words. And so that's why your 24 words are honestly the most important thing to keep safe. I could give this to somebody right now. If I just randomly walked down the road and I handed this to you and I said, good luck, you would never get my crypto. You would never figure it out. You can have this. Have it. It's fine. If you have these 24 words, my crypto is gone. It's gone. You own it. You own my crypto if you have these 24 words. But if you have this, you need me. Without me, this is worthless. And so you don't have to over worry about the idea that maybe one hardware wallet will be compromised or something of that nature. Lose it on a fishing trip, it's no big deal. I have questions about why you were bringing your crypto with you on a fishing trip, but I suppose they'd have the same question about my pew-pews, and well, they have the same answer, whereas they can kiss my nether region. And so ultimately, it's that easy. It's not a big worry. If this disappears, it's okay. If both of these disappear, I got a problem. I got a problem. And so you need to keep that in mind also, is that you need the 24 words and you need it, or you need the 24 words. I think that probably conveyed it fairly concisely. Jeff, yes, thank you, Z, for all this great info. Wish I'd had you around before I threw most of my crypto to the wind. I'm so sorry to hear about that. And that's why we're doing these shows, Jeff. That's why I'm here. I'm here because of that. I want it to stop. And the only way to make them stop is for the average person to be keeping their crypto and storing their crypto in a secure manner. And if that occurs, there will not be any more of these scams. Ultimately, I have never lost a dime that is on my hardware wallet. Not once, not ever. I've never even thought about keeping it safe. I don't need to. It is literally, it requires my brain to activate. Without my brain, it's just useless. It's useless. This is nothing without me. On the chain gang. CEH private natural bot. I have 3 buttons: buy, deposit, withdraw on my uphold front page. Do I click on XRP XLM or click the withdraw button? Click the withdraw button. You're going to click the withdraw button, and then after you click withdraw, it's going to ask you which cryptocurrency asset would you like to withdraw. And so you're going to go through that one in exactly the same way. I'm going to get back onto Uphold for just a second. All right, we got to log back in. All right, we get a text message. They really love giving me text messages. And 6. Oh, wait. Man, I do not like that randomized code. Maybe I shouldn't log in. But all right. So I'm on here, CEH, and you're probably on a phone. And so yours is looking different on the uphold page. But ultimately, on the web page, everything is done over here. On yours, you're just going to withdraw. But effectively, we're doing the same thing here, CEH. And so I'm selecting Ethereum, and it's saying I don't have any. So this is unfortunate because I went ahead and transferred everything off. But if I were to select source, XRP, done, and I just don't have any more crypto. I should have left a little bit of crypto on here, CEH, so I could show you the screen that it pops up. But ultimately, you are going to withdraw your account. And so down here, when it shows your portfolio and it says your XRP account, remember that's important because they're transacting everything back into XRP essentially. Look, my XRP account has XTC. And that makes things extra confusing, CEH, because look, traded XTC, but I'm in my XRP account. And it's because Uphold is backed by XRP. And so everything transacts on the Ledger network. I sent here, I deposited from the Bitcoin network. I withdrew on the XRP network. This just says extra. This really does. It just makes everything extra complicated. It really does. It just makes everything extra complicated, and it's so unnecessary. And that's really the reason that you hear me be so negative about a lot of the exchanges. It's just the extra hurdles that are created that have no reason. They create the extra hurdles because they don't want you to leave. And so they made it extremely easy for you to buy crypto on Lobster, on Uphold. But they made it extremely complicated to remove your crypto from the exchanges. That, to me, is a no-no. That, to me, is a pretty extreme no-no. And so just keep that in mind as you're going through it. The important parts here are the withdrawal and the receipt. If your money, your crypto is on Uphold, you would like to withdraw. If you are wanting to bring your crypto to a Coinbase account, you would go receive. If you want to bring your crypto to a Ledger account, you would go with receive. And so you are withdrawing or sending from Uphold, and you are receiving on Lobster, Coinbase, or your Ledger wallet. And just always think about it that way. The crypto is currently here, and so I am sending it. All I need to do is get the address of where I'm sending it to, which would be the receive address on the other side, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, Savvy. I signed up for Lobster, but Spidey Senses said Ruh-roh. It's been sitting since. I would highly recommend that everyone else gets all of their crypto off of Lobster, and then you go ahead and you put it into the dustbin of history, or you use it to make purchases. And so that's actually something else we'll go over real quick, just because I see the time. But ultimately, we could talk about these situations and these issues for 30, 40, 50 hours, and we would not have actually tackled all of the different problems. But in that situation, do remember that you can always, and you're much easier on Coinbase. And so on Coinbase, I clicked my assets, and then I clicked cash, and then I clicked USDC or US dollar. Let me hide your comment there. Sorry. But you'll see I clicked right over here, deposit. Now, it's going to ask me from what bank account I plan on depositing from. Uphold has the same function on it. I highly recommend making your purchases through these centralized exchanges. You will save money. After you have made the purchase, the video we had today is essentially what you need to follow. Once you've made that purchase, and so you have gone through and you've said, hey, I am going to transfer $500. No, I'm not. I don't have any to withdraw. I'm going to deposit $500. After you have deposited that from your bank account or whatever other device you are using, you will then be able to transact. And then from that point, you will want to remove to a cryptocurrency wallet that you actually own. That's really where it becomes important. Chris, how old are you, Zester? You look like you're 12. I'm 32, and so I've got 20 years on the 12. But yes, I do. I do look particularly young. Someday it's going to come in handy. Texas Farm, thank you so much for doing these videos. Your XDC video was so helpful. Not being able to see XDC on my Ledger Live still makes me so nervous. I haven't transferred it all. I understand that one, Texas Farm Girl, and I was very happy to make that video, but also it was one of those immediate, like, folks are going to have a negative experience with it just because you can't see it. Like, our XDC is here. Our XDC is literally here, but you can't see it. And you have to go through a crazy process to interact with it. XDC has really not gotten to a perfect point with Ledger. It is safe to store it on your Ledger, but it's really not, it ain't perfect yet. They've still got work to do on their side to really make XDC perfect on a Ledger. Jeff, still haven't figured out how to get my Axelar off of Coinbase. There's several different networks. Any advice there? Jeff, actually, I can definitely help you with that one. Because whenever you see multiple different, let's see if it'll actually let me do this the way that I'd like to. Let's say we wanted to send. And so, yeah, because I don't have any Axelar, it's making this a pain. But what's happening there, Jeff, is that you have a choice. And so, Jeff, if you're withdrawing Axelar off of Coinbase, what you need to ask yourself is, what wallet do you want to store it on? And so, example here, I'm just going to make this up off the top of my head. But say Axelar is an Ethereum token, which I'm guessing it is. It's probably an Ethereum token. And so, Jeff, if you chose Ethereum network, you need to provide your Ethereum wallet address. If you chose XRP network, you need to provide your XRP wallet address. And that's the best way to look at it. Whatever network you choose to withdraw with, you need a wallet that is the same network. And so if I'm withdrawing XRP, I'm withdrawing XRP on the XRP ledger. I need an XRP wallet to receive it. If I'm withdrawing Ethereum, I need an Ethereum wallet address in order to receive it. If I'm withdrawing Axelar, in this case, I can withdraw on the Ethereum blockchain, or I can withdraw on another blockchain. I need to withdraw in whichever blockchain I have a wallet to receive it on. And that's the easiest way to look at it. And so, Jeff, if you have a Tangam wallet, Tangam is an XRP wallet. And so you need to go to your Tangam wallet, Jeff, and you need to click and you need to type in Axelar on your Tangam wallet, and then you need to click receive. That's the wallet address you want. And so all you need to do whenever you have a situation like this is you need to go and you need to look at where you want it to go. And you need to say, what network does the destination rely on? Then go back and choose that network. That in and of itself will ensure that you go to the right place. If you withdraw an Ethereum token, you only need an Ethereum wallet address. If you withdraw an XRP token, you need an XRP wallet address. That is something that you can very much ascertain off of the centralized exchange, because it's going to ask you. With Hedera over here, when I went to withdraw, and so I go to send, it's not asking me any questions. It's just saying, bam, we're going there, because Hedera doesn't have any other chains that it's mirrored on. It doesn't have that problem. And so, you know, when I go over to bounce, same idea. But what it does is it immediately says, look, I tried to use our wallet address with Hedera, with bounce, and it says this is not compatible. And so most of the centralized exchanges will tell you that it won't work. I go to send, I choose this one, it says not compatible. I go over, I say send, I go to BB, nope, not compatible. And you know what I'm going to bet? I'm going to go ahead and bet that bounce is an Ethereum wallet address, which I don't currently have an Ethereum wallet address available. I go over to Zester's Ethereum and I say I'd like to receive. I click continue and I get my Ethereum wallet address, the one that I need to update firmware on, of course. But I would guarantee that bounce is an Ethereum wallet address. And so I typed in the other ones. I showed the opportunity of sending it to a Stellar wallet address. It said no. I gave it an XRP wallet address. It said no, which means it's not on those blockchains. Coinbase wouldn't accept the address. Well, that's a great thing. That means, Jeff, it's not the right blockchain. And so let's see if we can't figure that one out real quick. And that'll be our last one for this Axelar. Another way of figuring this out, Jeff, is to come back over to your CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. And so what we see here, Axelar, Axelar is an Ethereum token. And so you need an Ethereum wallet address, Jeff. And the reason and how I figured that out was I just put in Axelar on CoinGecko. And now you see what's here, OX. OX means that it's Ethereum virtual machine compatible. Not to get into the weeds technologically, that means it's Ethereum. And so Axelar is Ethereum. And that means that if I had an Ethereum wallet address to remove from Coinbase, it would work. And so let me try to achieve that very quickly. Zester Ethereum, receive, continue, open. Oh, good Lord. We got another firmware update. Oh, that or it just did not actually finish. Oh, Cindy Bell. Can I cash my crypto out from my wallet to my bank account, or do I have to send it back to Coinbase, then to my bank? That's why it's so important. You need to send it to Coinbase. You need to go from your Ledger hardware wallet back to Coinbase, and from Coinbase to your bank account. The reason being is you'll make the most money, and that's really the reasoning. There are other ways to do it. They're complicated. They're dangerous. Don't do it. Whenever you're looking to take your crypto back and you want that money back in your bank account, send it from your crypto wallet to your centralized exchange, and from your centralized exchange, withdraw it to your bank. That's how I've always done it. I have never, ever had an issue or lost a dollar. And so in that regard, that's definitely the way to go. You do want to send back to that centralized exchange. All right, though, I think we've got our firmware update. So let's go ahead and go back. We're going to go to our Zester Ethereum, receive, click. Let's see if we've got all the updates downloaded. Oh, good Lord, how many of these things do we have? Looks like we don't have any more. Oh, that's very odd. I may need to actually reset my my application. And very often, guys, a lot of the different issues you'll have in the tech area really come down to turn it off and turn it back on again. As silly as that may seem, very often it ends up being the answer. Very, very, very often, unfortunately. Still says I need another update. Still says I need another update. But that would be how you would go back through. Oh, no. CEH, private natural body, smooch. Hope everyone there, someone there can help. Right now, banks. Oh, Tina. Do not have a crypto person. I'm a step-by-step person. Then I have it. Well, that is. You just have to go through and do the steps over and over again. And I highly recommend doing the steps with a small amount of money, because then you don't have as much to worry about. And so I would highly recommend doing those steps with $10, $20, $30, whatever is your acceptable amount of loss or your learning cost. Take that amount of money, put it into crypto, and do what we did today. Send it from your ledger to your lobster. Send it from your lobster to your uphold. Send it from your uphold to your Coinbase. Send it from your Coinbase to your lobster. Do it all. It seems silly because it seems wasteful, but it really isn't. It's extremely valuable. Extremely, extremely valuable. All right, though, guys, I'm going to go through and try to organize and make a little bit more concise of a tutorial going into the future. But otherwise, I think today we're probably ready to go ahead and call it for the evening. I hope that this has helped some of the folks out there. We're going to make a more concise version of this for the future. That way, there's a recorded version. The big benefit that I saw of today is that people would be able to actually ask the questions, because very often I don't know what the exact problems are. And that's probably just a matter of being so close to it. I've been in crypto for so long that very often I don't know where the average person is hitting that problem. And that's why it's so helpful to do things this way, because I get to hear from folks, well, what exact position did you get stopped at? And so with this knowledge, I'm going to go forth, and Tina is going to harass me as I make a video that puts all of what we put together in the stream today in a more concise manner. And so look forward to that one. And I hope that will end up being an even better way of kind of sharing the information. But beyond that, guys, thank you so much for joining. Please do be ready Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be back, and I'll be looking forward to any of the follow-up questions, because I know after today and this weekend, folks are going to watch this stream and they're going to come back with a bunch of new questions, and I'm going to be ready for it. And so, Chris, there you go. Chris, you really did help me tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to help us. Love your orange kitty. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate that. And don't worry, we'll be back again Monday, 6 p.m. We'll be going through and hopefully kind of seeing the final problems or the final hurdles that folks are encountering along the way. But all right. Love you guys. See you guys very, very soon.